There's a word, or rather, a feeling, that can match any unfortunate circumstance. It can defeat any obstacle, and it allows those who feel it to rise up to incredible heights of confidence and contentment, while simultaneously lifting those who have fallen. Matthew West's song lyrics perfectly describe this inarticulate emotion. It's the hardest thing to give away, and the last thing on your mind today. It always goes to those who don't deserve. It's the opposite of how you feel when the pain they caused is just too real. It takes everything you have just to say the word. Forgiveness. It flies in the face of all your pride. It moves away the mad inside. It's always anger's own worst enemy. Even when the jury and the judge say you got a right to hold a grudge, it's the whisper in your ear saying, set it free. It'll clear the bitterness away. It can even set a prisoner free. There is no end to what its power can do. So let it go and be amazed by what you see through eyes of grace. The prisoner that it really frees is you. Sometimes people have to forgive small, trivial matters. Sometimes people blow small, trivial matters exponentially out of proportion. This happens to Josephine March in the novel Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, when Joe's younger sister Amy does something that is, in Joe's eyes, utterly unforgivable. Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Meg, Beth, and Amy were sitting together when Joe burst into the room and demanded, "Has anybody taken my story?" Meg and Beth said, "No." Amy poked the fire and said nothing. "Amy, you've got it." "No, I haven't." "You know something about it. You'd better tell me at once or I'll make you," said Joe. "You'll never get your silly old story again," cried Amy. "Why not?" "I burnt it." "What?" "My little book that I was so fond of." "Have you really burnt it?" said Joe. "Yes, I did." Joe shook Amy till the teeth chattered in her head, crying in a passion of grief and anger. "You wicked, wicked girl! I can never write it again, and I will never forgive you as long as I live." Joe rushed out of the room and finished her fight alone. After Joe received her goodnight kiss, Mrs. March whispered gently, "My dear, don't let the sun go down upon your anger. Forgive each other, help each other, and begin again tomorrow." Joe shook her head and said gruffly, "It was an abominable thing, and she doesn't deserve to be forgiven." Amy ran after Joe and Lori, who were skating along the shore. Joe turned around just in time to see Amy throw up her hands and go down, with a sudden crash of ice, the splash of water, and a cry that made Joe's heart stand still with fear. Joe and Lori got Amy home, and she fell asleep before a hot fire. "It's all my fault," Joe sobbed, condemning her hardness of heart, sobbing out her gratitude for being spared that heavy punishment. "I'm afraid I shall do something dreadful one day and spoil my life and make everybody hate me. Mother, help me." "I will, my child, I will. Don't cry so bitterly. But remember this day and resolve with all your soul that you will never know another like it. Joe, dear, we all have our temptations. Some far greater than yours. And it often takes us all of our lives to conquer them. The patience and humility of the face she loved so well was a better lecture to Joe than the wisest lecture, the sharpest reproof. I let the sun go down on my anger. I wouldn't forgive her. And today, it might have been too late. How could I be so wicked? Said Joe. Amy opened her eyes and held out her arms with a smile that went straight to Joe's heart. Neither said a word, but they hugged one another close, and everything was forgiven. People forgive small matters quite often, but sometimes people have to find deep within themselves the ability to forgive the most grievous of insults and injuries. Corrie ten Boom and her family helped hide Jews from the Nazis during the war. Corrie, her father, and her sister Betsy were sent to a concentration camp for their efforts. Their father died within 10 days of incarceration, but Betsy and Corrie fought tooth and nail for every day of their continued survival. A few days before Corrie was released due to a clerical error, Betsy died. She'd spent all of her time and energy encouraging those around her, no matter who they were or what they'd done to her. After the war and after her release, Corrie found herself facing a very difficult decision. The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. It was at a church service that I saw him, the former SS man who'd stood guard at the shower room door of the processing center. He was the first of our actual jailers I'd seen since that time, and suddenly, it was all there. The room full of mocking men, the heaps of clothing on the floor, Betsy's pain-blanched face. He came up to me as the church was emptying. "How grateful I am for your message, Fraulein," he said. "To think that, as you say, he has washed my sins away." His hand was thrust out to shake mine, and I, who had preached so often the need to forgive, kept my hand at my side. Even as the angry, vengeful thoughts boiled through me, I saw the sin of them. Jesus had died for this man. Was I going to ask for more? "Lord Jesus," I prayed, "forgive me and help me forgive him." I tried to smile. I struggled to raise my hand. I could not. I felt nothing, not the slightest spark of warmth or charity. So again, I breathed a silent prayer. "Jesus, I cannot forgive him. Give your forgiveness." As I took his hand, the most incredible thing happened. A current seemed to pass from me to him, while into my heart sprang a love for this stranger that almost overwhelmed me. And so I discovered that it is not on our forgiveness that the world's healing hinges, but on his. When he tells us to love our enemies, he gives, along with the command, the love itself.